will be attentive, ask questions that come to their hearts, and by your spirit and your grace, your mercy, you will provide the answers. We thank you for those who are going to join us. Let them join with the same kind of participatory anticipation. And let everything that we do be done decently and orderly. We give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, as I recall, in chapter 6, in the beginning of it, spends most of the chapter dealing with the sons of Aaron, the Levites, and it is excellent information for those people who have been in captivity, those young ones who may know very little about their genealogy, because the information that's provided in there, as well as the rest of it, can be so helpful to them who are being freed to go back and to determine where they came from, the cities, the towns that they lived in, to help them recover some of the possessions that their ancestors might have had. And it gives them a sense of who their relatives were, and because some of them, you recall, we would say had become biracial, because when the tribes went into captivity, some of the Israelites went into Egypt, and we found that some of them married Egyptians. In fact, there's one highlighted in one of these chapters where this Israelite married the daughter of the Pharaoh, and they began to have children. And that line is in this genealogy too. So there are children who are in the captivity whose great-great-grandparents came from the kingdom of Egypt. They were in that line. And we're going to find today as we read, and then, well, back in the other days when the Israelites were in some of them, when they were captured, overthrown, some of them got out. They left and went to Egypt. We're going to find that some of them, or one of them, it's highlighted in here, married an Assyrian woman. And that Assyria, Assyria was the people who were at war with Israel. And here we have an Israelite marrying an Assyrian woman, and they are having children that are in this genealogy. So you've got some mixed race children, or we call them mixed race. I don't know how they refer to them, but some of the captors' genealogy, if they kept it, would be mixed with some of the Israelites. So we're finding that this thing is just so useful in these people determining who they are. These younger people, we talked about those who were born in captivity and who had never lived in Israel. They get an idea of where they came from, where their ancestors came from, what their ancestors had in terms of land and other valuables. And that will give them a choice as to where they want to reestablish themselves when they get out of captivity, whether they want to go back to that town in that section, or whether they want to go and start somewhere anew. So this is all very useful to us today. Those of us who are interested, we go to this place called Ancestry.com, and we look up to see where we came from and who our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents came from. That's almost the same kind of thing that's happening here. The difference here is that some of the records are not present because Ezra, Jeremiah weren't able to gather all of the records. And because some of the tribes of the 10 that left, they didn't have their records. Ezra didn't have their records like he had the records of Judah and Benjamin. and he got some of the others. But he includes those that he has of the other 10 tribes. And that's where we're going to spend a lot of time in the next couple of lessons. Okay, I'm talking too much. Anybody want to add anything from where we were before? Any questions or anything you want to highlight? All right, Charles, let's start reading then at verse 54, chapter 6.
Now these are their dwelling places throughout their settlements in their territory, for they were given by lot to the sons of Aaron of the family of the Kohathites. They gave them Hebron in the land of Judah with its surrounding common lands. But the fields of the city and its villages they gave to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and to the sons of Aaron they gave one of the cities of refuge, Hebron. Also Libnah with its common lands, Jatir, Estimoa with its common lands, Helen with its common lands, Debir with its common lands, Ashan with its common lands, and Beth Shemesh with its common lands. And from the tribe of Benjamin, Geba with its common lands, Alameth with its common lands, Anathoth with its common lands. All their cities among their families were 13. To the rest of the family of the tribe of the Kohathites, they gave by lot 10 cities from half the tribe of Manasseh, and to the sons of Gershon throughout their families, they gave 13 cities from the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Asher, from the tribe of Naphtali, and from the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. To the sons of Merari throughout their families, they gave 12 cities from the tribe of Reuben, from the tribe of Gad, from the tribe of Zebulun. So the children of Israel gave these cities with their common lands to the Levites, and they gave by lot.
Stop right there, Charles. 64. You can see now what this is, what kind of information this part of the genealogy is providing to them. It's when they read this and see this information, I'm talking about those people in captivity who are being freed, those who have never lived in Israel, those who were not born, those who are less than 70 years old. When they see this, when they do look back at who their ancestors were, they see where their ancestors lived and who their ancestors were. And they find out that, not only did the cities that they lived in, but they found out that their ancestors lived in the surrounding areas, the villages, and the other lands that were around. So this is very valuable information to those who are going to be free, and where they're going and the choices they have in terms of where they want to go and resettle. Follow me? Okay. Says that they gave one of the cities of refuge to the sons of Aaron. What's the city of refuge? Anybody remember? We studied that before.
It's when you commit a crime, possibly on self-defense or anything, you can go and they won't arrest you in the city of refuge until it's worked out.
And who generally administered and was in charge and ruled over the city of refuge? The sons of Aaron, the Levites. And they had several cities of refuge. And here it's telling us where one of those cities were. And there are some of these people who are coming out of captivity may not even have heard about the city of refuge, and may have heard. They know now which of their people were living in the city of refuge. Good information for those who don't know where they want to go and want to go somewhere where they may have some footings and some foundations that they can walk into. And then it begins to talk to us about lands that were given from other tribes. Talks about, mentions Benjamin here. And you know, Benjamin was one of the smaller tribes. And Benjamin was one of the smaller tribes that, and their people predominantly lived in Jerusalem, in the land of Judah. So when Judah and Benjamin were captured, they were captured together. So now it's mentioning now that some of the land in Benjamin was given to these Levites. Okay? Anybody else? Any comment? Any highlights? They gave them by lot. L-O-T, not the name of the man, but they just picked the names out of a hat and gave them to these from the tribes. They picked each tribe had to contribute something, and that's what was contributed to the Levites. And now they're naming, Israel is naming in this genealogy those cities that were given to those tribes of people, or given to that group of people out of that tribe's holdings. So Charles would know where he wanted to go and take his family. Karen would want to know where she would go and take her family. And John would want to know where he would go. And they might go to some of them would go to the same place, but they would find out that they had very different backgrounds and ancestry, and they would go into different places. So, okay, let's go on.
And they gave by lot from the tribe of the children of Judah, from the tribe of the children of Simeon, and from the tribe of the children of Benjamin, these cities which are called by their names. Now some of the families of the sons of Kohath were given cities as their territory from the tribe of Ephraim. And they gave them one of the cities of refuge, Shechem, which is with its common lands in the mountains of Ephraim. Also Gezer and its common lands, and Jokmeam with its common lands, Beth Horon with its common lands, Ajalon with its common lands, and Gath Rimmon with its common lands. And from the half tribe of Manasseh, Aner with its common lands, and Bileam with its common lands for the rest of the family of the sons of Kohath.
Okay, now listen, you see what it's doing, what this genealogy is doing now. What Ezra has been able to find in the information that he has is the land that was given from each tribe. He hasn't named all 12 of them yet, but he's named many of them. Some of the tribes, their information was just, I don't know, he didn't have it. So it is either lost or those folk were so busy worshiping idols in Israel, in those 10 tribes, that they just threw away or destroyed all of the stuff of God. But he's got some of the information from some of them. And it'll be interesting to know that there are some of the 10 tribes that he doesn't even mention the ancestor from. So those people who are in bondage now, about to be released, who came from the 10 tribes, some of them don't have this information about their ancestors. Okay? All right, go on, Charles.
From the family of the half tribe of Manasseh, the sons of Gershon were given Golan and Bashan with its common lands, and Ashtaroth with its common lands. From the tribe of Issachar, Kedesh with its common lands, Debarath with its common lands, Ramoth with its common lands, and Anim with its common lands. And from the tribe of Asher, Mashal with its common lands, Abdon with its common lands, Hukok with its common lands, and Rehob with its common lands. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kedesh in Galilee with its common lands, Hammon with its common lands, and Kirjathaim with its common lands. From the tribe of Zebulun, the rest of the children of Merari were given Rimmon with its common lands, and Tabor with its common lands. And on the other side of the Jordan, across from Jericho, on the east side of the Jordan, they were given from the tribe of Reuben, Bezer in the wilderness with its common lands, Jahzah with its common lands, Kedemoth with its common lands, and Mephath with its common lands. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with its common lands, Mahanaim with its common lands, Eshbon with its common lands, and Jazer with its common land.
Okay, you see what God has done. God has provided for, or in this genealogy, it showed us that God had provided the Levites. Now, this land, when it says they were given by lot from a certain tribe, it means it was given to the Levites. And so this is the land that the Levites owned that was in the different tribes, because the Levites were the ones who were I'm going to say the religious leaders, and God provided for them. The people had to make provisions for the Levites and the priests. And so God gave this land to them. So the Levites had land in every one of the tribes, among all of them. And here Ezra is showing for all those people who are in captivity now, who are about to be released, he's showing that these are the places from which so many of you came. And so many of you, even some of them who are Levites. And I have a feeling that, these were people who, for those who were born in captivity less than 70 years, they have never worshiped God outside of their families, because the captives did not worship God. They had their idols. And so these people who had never worshiped their God, and only maybe in their houses or where they lived, those who had parents who were over 70, who knew about God, they only knew what those people had taught them. They didn't know what the priests had taught and how they were supposed, what the law said. They learned only what the people in their family who were older, who had been in Israel and who might have remembered something about the law and how they lived. So here, these people who are getting ready to be sent back, it's just like a whole fresh new start. And here is something for them when they go back. Where in this new land am I going? And here Ezra is giving them, if you want to go back to where your people came from, look at this information. And it will give them an indicator of where they might go and resettle in the new land. I call it new land because it's out of captivity for them. Comments, questions? No questions, no comments. All right. All right. Now we're going to get into some of the other tribes. Now here we're going to be mentioning, besides outside of Judah and Benjamin, the tribes that land is going to be given to the Levites, and the other kinds of lands where people settle. This will be from the 10 tribes that withdrew from Israel, that rebelled. So let's see what God says about them. Chapter 7, Charles.
The sons of Issachar were Tola, Puah, Jashub, and Shimron, 4 in all. The
And
sons of To-
that's the first tribe we're going to talk about, that he's talking about, Issachar. Okay, remember, when we finish this lesson and tonight, you guys go look at the 10 tribes that pulled out, and you're going to find, and these are the names that you're going to see now. And he's going to give us as many of them as the records show that Israel had. Okay, Charles, I'm sorry. Go on.
sons of Tola were Uzi, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jemiah, Gypsum, and Shemuel, heads of their father's house. The sons of Tola were mighty men of valor in their generations. Their number in the days of David was 22,600. The
All right,
son of
stop
Uzi,
right there, y'all. You see, Israel's genealogical information is telling these people, even though the tribe of Issachar was with the 10 that left Israel, I mean, that rebelled, back earlier before they rebelled, they're saying that some of these guys were good enough to be David's folks. They were referred to as men of valor who fought with David. This was long before the division. So the information that Israel is providing now for those, I'm calling them young people, those who are less than 70, those younger people who may not have known anything about their history, now begin to connect not only with the tribe after its rebellion, but they now see that their tribe was linked with David even before the rebellion. Gives them a greater sense of belonging. And that's through the mercy of God, I can only say. Okay? Go ahead, Charles.
the son of Uzi was Israel. The sons of Israel were Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. All 5 of them were chief men. And with them, by their generations, according to their fathers' houses, were 36,000 troops ready for war, for they had many wives and sons. Now their brethren among all the families of Issachar were mighty men of valor, listed by their genealogies, 87,000 in all.
Okay, now that's Issachar. That's one tribe. Now that tribe happened to have been one of the 10 that rebelled. Now he's going to go back and tell us a little bit more about Benjamin. Remember, Benjamin was the smallest of the tribes, and it was the one that did not leave because their land was in Judah. They did not leave with the other 10. Okay, go ahead, Charles.
The sons of Benjamin were Bela, Besher, and Jediel, 3 in all. The sons of Bela were Esbon, Uzi, Uziel, Jeremoth, and Eri, 5 in all. They were heads of their fathers' houses, and they were listed by their genealogies, 22,034 mighty men of valor.
You see what he's talking about, 22,000? Back a few minutes ago, what did he say? In Issachar, 36,000. You see? And somewhere back there, we talked about 100 and some thousand. So you see that in Benjamin, we have a smaller number of mighty men of valor, a smaller tribe. In fact, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read, I think somewhere that Benjamin was the smallest tribe. Any of you read that? Okay.
Yes.
All right, go on.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Jean.
Chapter 2, Tola. He had a number of days with that was 22,600. So that was not a large amount, 600 over from what we show here in Benjamin.
Okay, so
But that was doing, it says in the days of David.
So this, anytime we see, no, I shouldn't say that. I'm not sure about that. But when I see the description of the soldiers where they refer to them as men of valor, that takes me back to Saul and David, the time of Saul and David. So that's long before David became king or the division of the land of Israel. So this genealogy goes way back there, as we say, all the way back beyond First Kings. Okay, so we're going to see that the number of soldiers and men who are ready for war may differ in some of these places, but Benjamin is usually had the smaller number. Okay, go ahead, Charles.
Sons of Becher were Zemira, Joash, Eliezer, Elorni, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Alameth. All these are the sons of Becher, and they were recorded by genealogy according to their generations, heads of their fathers' houses, 20,200 mighty men of valor. The son of Jediel was Bilhan, and the sons of Bilhan were Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud, Chenaiah, Zethan, Tharshish, and Ahishahar. All these sons of
Charles, you do such a good job. You do such a good job with these names. We really appreciate you. But you see, the sons, every time they name one and say the son of somebody and the son of another person and the son of another person, they're talking about a generation of people, at least 20, 30 years separating each one of these sons. So you see how far back it goes. When they talk about Charles, I say Charles, the son of his father, and who's the son of his father and the son of his father. They name three people and they're talking about 100 years. And that's the way these genealogies go. Makes me want to go find out about my ancestry. Any of you know yours?
You already
Any
did
of you find out yours?
Yes,
that. I did.
my daughter is working on that as well. And I started with 23andMe, and then she's working with Ancestry.com. But yes, on both sides of the family.
Okay. And you did too, Carol?
I did.
Yes.
And you, Karen?
My son Clyde Jr. is working on ours. I know some of the ancestry.
And my brother is working on ours.
Isn't that something? The younger generation, the younger generation.
Yes, I have a quilt that my aunt had made with a lot of my pictures of the ancestors that, as far as she could go back, that she have and put them on that.
Nice.
And then we have a book that she had given my mother and all her siblings. So I have that book with all of the information in it. And so I started looking and went back a little bit further than she did and found some other relatives.
How far back do you think we can go?
not much further than the Civil War for most people.
Mostly we're going to stop at slavery, huh? Aren't we?
But there's DNA also that is in,
Yeah, I did that too.
and we have gone into that. And it's
Yeah.
outside of the Civil War.
I didn't hear you. You said most of what?
DNA, the DNA, your blood, and tracking back to generations and families and what have you.
But
Into
that can't give you specific names though, can it?
they
It takes you back to your tribes.
by the bloodline.
Yeah, I traced back to our tribe
Yeah.
in Sierra Leone.
But as far as knowing actual names, they didn't really keep records of slaves.
Oh no,
No.
And so
you
that's
you
what
find
They didn't start doing that after the Civil War.
a family. That's, yeah, yeah. Quite involved, detailed. That's Jennifer for us.
I'll go back to 1835.
But you see the comparable activity. That's the comparable activity for what Ezra is reporting on in this book now. These things he has records from the priests and from other places, public places, where the records of children born to different individuals. And he has had the records. Go on, Karen. You had something? Okay. All right, Charles, where did I stop you?
11.
Okay, let's start again.
All these sons of Jediel were heads of their fathers' houses. There were 17,200 mighty men of valor fit to go out for war and battle. Shupim and Hupim were the sons of Ir, and Hushim was the son of Ahir. The sons of Naphtali were Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shalom, the sons of Bilhah. The descendants of Manasseh, his Syrian concubine, bore him Mashir, the father of Gilead, the father of Azriel. Mashir
Okay,
took his wife.
Stop right there. The verse 14, the descendants of Manasseh. Manasseh is the one that I was referring to, who had the Syrian concubine. And remember now, the Syrians were the ones who conquered Israel, but he had a Syrian.
No, the Assyrians conquered Israel. This says Syria, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're going to find that they're the same people. Okay. She bore him a child. So here you
Waiters
have
always look at me
Manasseh,
and think
who
that I'm
is
gonna
the
have a
tribal
salad,
leader,
maybe a soup,
who has
and
a
that'll be
child that is, today we refer to it as, what is it? Mixed race.
Interracial.
Okay, so just imagine 70, those children who are in captivity, who find this out about their ancestry. You see the questions that they're gonna have. Where are my, which side of my ancestry am I gonna follow? The Syrian side or the Israelite side? And then they're gonna say, well, wait a minute, my side, one side of me had the other side of me in captivity down here for 70 years. You see how difficult some of the decisions are going to be for some of the people who are being released from captivity. God hasn't kept this thing straight down the middle, where everybody's bloodline is the same and every family is the same. The bloodlines are mixed. That's one example he's showing us. The one about the Israelite who married the daughter of the Egyptian king, who is a pharaoh. There you got blood mixed, Israelite and Egyptian. So these things aren't, don't get the feeling that what Israel is releasing, this information, is just going to be straightforward and everybody will know exactly who they are and what their people are and who their people are. Because here you're getting mixed lines of people too. Mixed, quote, we would call them today, mixed races. Okay? All right, go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry to break in on you like that, but
That's quite all right.
All right, where are we?
14.
All right, 14.
The descendants of Manasseh, his Syrian concubine, bore him Mashir, the father of Gilead, the father of Azriel. Mashir took as his wife the sister of Hupin and Shupin, whose name was Machar. The name of Gilead's grandson was Zelophehad, but Zelophehad begot only daughters. Mashah, the wife of Machir, bore a son, and she called his name Perish. The name of his brother was Sherish, and the sons were Ulam and Rakem. The son of Ulam was Bedon. These were the descendants of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh. His sister Hamoliketh bore Ishhad, Abiezer, and Mala. And the sons of Shemida were Ahian, Shechem, Likai, and Aniam. The sons of Ephraim were Shuhalah, Bered, his son, Tahath, his son, Eladah, his son, Tahath, his son, Zabad, his son, Shehalah, his son, and Ezer and Eliad. The men of Gath who were born in that land killed them because they came down to take away their cattle. Then Ephraim, their father, mourned many days, and his brethren came to comfort him. And when he went into his wife, she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name Beriah, because tragedy had come upon his house. Now his daughter was Shirah, who built Lower and Upper Beth Horon, and Uzim Shirah, and Rapha was his son, as well as Resheph and Telah his son, Tahan his son, Ladon his son, Ammihud his son, Elishama his son, Nun his son, and Joshua his son.
Okay, you see what we're finding now. Again, we're into the other tribe, Ephraim. We went from Naphtali, and we went from Issachar, and now we're into Nephi. So this information that Israel has available to those people is going to be made available to not only Judah and Benjamin, those two tribes that did not refrain from worshiping God. God's mercy is being extended now to the other 10 tribes. And this information that Ezra is providing will permit those people who were in the 10 tribes who were taken into captivity long before Judah and Benjamin. They too are going to have some of this information to help them come back and resettle themselves in the land. You see the mercy of God in this? All right. Where are you? Verse 30?
28.
28, I'm sorry.
Now their possessions and dwelling places were Bethel and its towns, to the east Naran, to the west Gezer and its towns, and Shechem and its towns, as far as Aiah and its towns, and by the borders of the children of Manasseh were Beth Shean and its towns, Tanakh and its towns, Megiddo and its towns, Dor and its towns. And these dwelt the children of Joseph, son of Israel. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah. The sons of Beriah were Heber and Machiel, who was the father of Berzaeth, and Heber begot Japhlet, Shomer, Hotham, and their sister Shua. The sons of Japhlet were Pishash, Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were the children of Japhlet. The sons of Shemer were Ahai, Rogah, Jehuba, and Aram. The sons of his brother Helam were Zophath, Imnah, Shelash, and Amal. The sons of Zophar were Sua, Harnefer, Shuel, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Had, Shammah, Shilshath, Jithron, and Bera. The sons of Jetha were Jephunath, Pispa, and Ara. The sons of Ulah were Ara, Haniel, and Rizia. All these were the children of Asher, heads of their fathers' houses, choice men, mighty men of valor, chief leaders. and they were recorded by genealogists among the army fit for battle. The number was 26,000.
All right. You see the level of detail that this genealogical information provides these people. Today we're searching for our ancestry. And you can see the level of detail here, how many centuries it goes back. So these people coming out of captivity now, God has made provisions for them to go back to the lands from which they were taken captive. And to the extent that they wanted to resettle where their ancestors had settled, they'll have this information and can use it as a starting point. The mercy of God. Any questions? Well, if we get to chapter 8, is that where we are now, chapter 8?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to be, now chapter 8 is has a little more significance in terms of our study. And because this is Benjamin, we're going to find this is the tribe out of which Saul and David came. So this information is going to be very, very significant for us as we study to see who these people were. And then those, just imagine if you were one of the under 70 coming back, you'd be able to trace yourself to the first king of Israel. That might be something significant for you. Or to David, all in the study of the genealogy out of Benjamin. Okay, let's see what it says.
Now Benjamin begot Bela, his firstborn, Ashbel the second, Aharah the third, Nohah the fourth, and Rapha the fifth. The sons of Bela were Adar, Gera, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahor, Gera, Stephufan, and Huram. These are the sons of Ehud, who were the heads of the fathers' houses of the inhabitants of Geba, who forced them to move to Manahath, Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera, who forced them to move. He begot Uzzah and Ahihud. Also, Shahariam, the children of the country of Moab, after he had sent away Husham and Barah, his wives. By Hodesh, his wife, he begot Jobab, Zibiah, Misha, and Malcolm. Jeuz, Sachiah, and Mirmah, these were his sons, heads of their fathers' houses. And by Husham he begot Abitub and Elpal. The sons of Elpal were Eber, Misham, and Shemed, who built Ono and Lod with its towns, and Beriah and Shema, who were heads of their fathers' houses, of the inhabitants of Arjalam, who drove out of the inhabitants of Gath. Ahio, Shashak, Jeremoth, and Zebediah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ispah, and Johah were the sons of Beriah. Zebediah, Meshulam, Hizkai, Heber, Ishmerai, Jizliah, and Joab were the sons of Elpal.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
How come these people can't name their children normal names like Michael, George, Phil, Larry?
I thought
like they can't name their children normal names today.
I wanted to give you a break, Charles, and let you breathe. You're doing such a wonderful job in naming these people. But remember now, as I said, that when he names the sons of, and then the sons of, you're talking generation, you're talking a generation. And we read it so quickly, because it's right there, just 1, 2, 3, we don't, but the generation is anywhere from 10 to 20 years. And And many of these people had 4 children, 5, some had 13 sons, not mentioning the daughters. These genealogists, for the most part, bypassed the daughters. Only if the daughter had given birth to a son who had become a king, who became a king or became someone significant in battle, it's only then that the mother of that person, that male, is mentioned. I shouldn't say only then, but it's usually when the mother is named, when something exceptional has occurred in the genealogy. Okay, you ready to go back, Charles?
Where am I? 19?
19, yeah, 19.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay. Jacob, Zikri, Zabdi, Elani, Zelathai, Eliel, Adiah, Beriah, and Shimrath were the sons of Shimei. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abnon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anathijah, and Ipadiah, and Peniel were the sons of Shashak.
See, these guys had a lot of sons. They don't mention the daughters. You notice they don't mention the daughters. I'm sure some of them had daughters too. But the genealogists, the Jewish genealogists focused on the males. Okay. Go ahead, 26.
Shamshirai, Shehariah, Ahaliah, Jerishiah, Elijah, and Zikri were the sons of Jeroham. These were the heads of the fathers' houses by their generations, chief men. These dwelt in Jerusalem. Now the father of Gibeon, whose wife's name was Makah, dwelt at Gibeon, and his firstborn son was Abnon, then Zer, Kish, Baal, Nadab, Geder, Ahio, Zetcher, and Mikloth, who begot Shemiah. They also dwelt alongside their relatives in Jerusalem with their brethren. Ner
Okay,
begot Kish.
Charles, so here we're getting straight information to these people based on the genealogical locations, that these were people in Jerusalem. Okay, and we know that for the worshipers of God, Jerusalem was the center place. So those who are able to trace themselves back through this genealogy will learn something about their parents and their ancestors, and whether or not their ancestors were part of those who left the kingdom of Israel. And so they'll be able to trace that back to Jerusalem, where they live in Jerusalem. Okay. All right, let's get the rest of this.
33. Ner begot Kish. Kish begot Saul. And Saul
There we
begot
have, well, there we have the name. Kish begot Saul. And Saul, as we know it, was a handsome dude who became the first king of Israel, a king that the people wanted so that their structure and organization could be like all the other countries that were around them. They didn't want to just have God as their king. They wanted a king whose face they could see. And so here we have Kish begetting Saul. All right, go ahead.
And Saul begot Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal, the son of Jonathan.
Hold it, Charles. Saul begot Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Have you heard anything about any of Saul's sons other than just Jonathan?
And Jonathan and the ones not mentioned here, the one that had lame feet, which was Jonathan's son.
Well, that's Jonathan's son. I'm just talking about Charles. I'm talking about Jonathan right now himself. Yeah, you're right. That was Jonathan's son.
Well,
But
he was a friend of David, right?
Yes, Jonathan was the one who was a friend of David.
Mhm.
But how about these other three sons of Saul? You hear nothing in scripture about them. Nothing. Jonathan is the only one that you heard about. And I guess because his relationship with David. Okay. Go ahead. 34, Charles.
The son of Jonathan was Merib-Baal. Merib-Baal begot Micah. The sons of Micah were Pithon, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. And Ahaz begot Jehoiada. Jehoiada begot Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. And Zimri begot Mosa. Mosa begot Beniah, Rapha his son, Eliasa his son, and Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons whose names were these: Azrikam, Bocheru, Ishmael, Shariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. All these were the sons of Azel. The sons of Eshek, his brother, were Ulam, his firstborn, Jehush the second, and Eliphelet the third. The sons of Ulam were mighty men of valor, archers. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 in all. These were all sons of Benjamin.
All right. So you see, now we've gotten the king introduced here. What time is it, Marie? Do we have time to go on? Anybody
Yes.
got the time?
Yeah, you do, Rudy. It's 10:27.
10:27, so we got 3 minutes.
No, we stop at 10:45.
Oh, 10:45, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to take a minute, hold it, somebody's ringing. Charles, can you go on and get the discussion? I'll be right back. Let's see who this is.
Yes, Charles, get the discussion.
Why can't he just let it go into voicemail?
That's
All right.
old school, Charles. They gotta answer.
Uh,
All right, I'll at least read into chapter 9.
I have a
So,
question.
huh?
I do have a question, and it's a little confusing after reading this when in chapter 8, genealogy from Benjamin, and I think Rudy said something. I know Saul came from Benjamin, and he said David did too. Is that correct? He said Saul and David. I just want to.
No, David couldn't have come from Benjamin because
Thank you. Right.
David was in Christ's line, and Christ came from Judah.
Right. That's I want to get corrected. That's my understanding that David couldn't have came from Benjamin because Christ came from Judah and he came from, David. And so David line would be in Judah. But he's made the comment that this was the tribe that Saul and David came from. And I just want to make sure, just get that corrected in my understanding that I'm not.
So it was just Saul that came from there.
I know Saul did. I just don't want to, I just want to make sure I'm in the right line.
Good.
Phyllis, Marie, y'all can help me out, right?
Okay.
No,
We
I
didn't
didn't
go
hear it, Carol,
anywhere
so you
'cause
just
Carol
enlightened
had-
me.
Huh?
I said I didn't hear it, so you just enlightened me. I didn't hear him say that.
I didn't either.
He did. I heard him say it, and that maybe it was just it just said, this is the smallest tribe where a Saul and David, and I was like, no, I know David didn't come from Benjamin because Christ came from the line of Judah.
Carol is saying you mentioned that Saul and David came from the line of Benjamin, and it was really just Saul.
Yeah, Saul is the descendant, one of the descendants.
Right.
But you said,
Right.
Carol says you also said David came from Benjamin.
And
David,
David didn't.
David was a son. David is from the lineage. Let's see, where can I pick it up?
He came from Judah, didn't he?
Yeah, David is in that lineage of Judah. The land of Benjamin's land is so small, was in the big land of Judah. And that's why I said 2 kings came out of that one land, Saul and David.
Oh,
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
were
So
2
they
kings.
just came out of that land, but actually, if we know David came from Judah.
Yeah, the land of Judah included the land of Judah and Benjamin were together.
Okay.
Okay. And Jerusalem was one of the major cities in Benjamin. And it was within the country. I know, I'll use this expression better. After the division of the kingdom of Israel, the 2 tribes that were left, Judah and Benjamin, became one country called Judah. Benjamin was within that country. And within one of the cities that was in Benjamin, it was Jerusalem. And that was the central city for the religious people of God. It was from that tribe that Saul came from. And Judah, which was the other tribe, was the one that David came from. So between the land of Judah, within the land of Judah, you had these 2 kings coming from the same land. That's all. That's the point I was making. I'm sorry if I misconstrued and confused.
Thank you.
But I just got a delivery. Something I've been waiting for.
Oh,
Why would they deliver stuff on Sunday?
well, if it's
why
Amazon,
not?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a
Was
long
it
time.
Amazon?
No, Prime.
That's Amazon.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's why you got it. Been
It's still
delivered
recording.
at all times.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're still recording. Okay, so let's go to chapter 9.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to get to the genealogy of the of Levi. Okay, let's see what happens. Who comes out of Levi?
So all Israel was recorded by genealogies, and indeed they were inscribed in the book of the kings of Israel. But Judah was carried away captive to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. And the first inhabitants who dwelt in their possessions in their cities were Israelites, priests, Levites, and the Nethinim. Now in Jerusalem, the children of Judah dwelt, and some of the children of Benjamin, and of the children of Ephraim and Manasseh. Uthai, the son of Ammihud, the son of Omri, the son of Imri, the son of Bani, the descendants of Perez, the son of Judah. Of the Shalonites, Azahiah, the firstborn, and his sons. Of the sons of Zerah, Jeuel, and their brethren, 690. Of the sons of Benjamin, Salu, the son of Meshullam, the son of Hodaviah, the son of Hasanua, Ibaniah, the son of Jeroam, Elah, the son of Uzi, the son of Micri, Meshullam, the son of Shephatiah, the son of Reuel, the son of Ibnijah, and their brethren, according to their generations, 956. All these men were heads of a father's house in their father's houses. Of the priests.
Charles, all these names that we're just talking about, these were the sons, or I shouldn't say the sons, but these were the genealogies of the tribe of Levi when it was scattered among all the cities of the 12 tribes. Because remember, the Levites had land that God had given them by lot in all 12 of the tribes. And so when the captivity ended, these Levites came back to their lands. And this is information to those Levites of where their ancestors were scattered into these different kinds of lands, these different places. within the 12 tribes. Okay? All right, on 10.
Of the priests, Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, and Jachin, Azariah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Merioth, the son of Ahitub, the officer over the house of God. Adaiah, the son of Jeroam, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah, Masai, the son of Adiel, the son of Jazarah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Meshilemeth, the son of Immer, and their brethren, heads of their fathers' houses, 1,760. They were very able men for the work of the service of the house of God.
Okay,
Of
so
the-
here again, what Ezra is providing them now. You remember when he talked about the sons of the different people out of the different tribes within the families. When he highlighted something, he highlighted their valor and the fact that they were well prepared to be soldiers and to fight. Now he's talking about the priests, the Levites. And remember, David had instructed that the Levites would be the musicians and would provide for everything that had to do with the temple. So now we're getting the description of the genealogy of the men who were those people who provided those kinds of things for the temple. And he's saying that who they were by name, and so that any of the people who are coming out of bondage, who would hear anything about their great grandparents and so forth, could go back and they could link themselves, and they would then be able to identify themselves according to their own tribe and where they came from and the cities that they were, their ancestors lived in and worked in, and the kind of work that they did. Remember now, these folk are in bondage, have been in bondage. Some of them who are under 70 were born in bondage. They don't know anything about the structure and organization and the genealogy of the Israelites, except what their mamas and daddies might have told them in their house. And we don't know how smart and how much their parents knew. But we do know that just as African slaves were forbidden to learn and to study and to be taught and to read, if you want to keep a population enslaved, you have to limit, or you don't have to, but one of the things that you can do is to limit their understanding and their knowledge. And that's to some extent what these captors were doing to these Israelites as they grew and developed. They did it through their religion, and whatever else they taught their things instead of the things of the Israelites. And so you see how these people coming out of bondage now, who are say 66 years old, coming into this land of their ancestors. Hey, where do I go? Where do I belong? What am I supposed to do? And Israel's genealogy is useful to them to that extent. Okay? Verse 14.
Of the Levites, Shemaiah, the son of Hashub, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah, of the sons of Merari, Bakbakar, Harish, Galal, and Mattaniah, the son of Micah, the son of Zikri, the son of Asaph, Obadiah, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, the son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who lived in the villages of the Netophathites. And the gatekeepers were Shalom, Akub, Talem, Ahiman, and their brethren. Shalom was the chief. Until then, they had been gatekeepers for the camps of the children of Levi at the king's gate on the east. Shalom, the son of Korah, the son of Ebasaph, the son of Korah, and his brethren from his father's house. The Korahites were in charge of the work of the service, gatekeepers of the tabernacle. Their fathers had been keepers of the entrance to the camp of the Lord. And Phinehas, the son.
Wait, hold y'all. There's another function. There's another function which a large number of these captives would look and they could see their ancestors. This is the work of our ancestors, our great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents. This was what they did. So when we get out of bondage and go back, we can look and see if this is our calling. And if you want to use the genealogy, you can say, well, this is the calling. I am the son of this person who is the son of that person who was one who did this kind of work. And so you would be in line and have a greater sense of a greater opportunity to do that. You follow me? Again, the use of this genealogy. You know, when we started out, we say, well, the first 10 chapters or the first 9 chapters, nothing but names.
That's true.
Some people say, well, that's going to be very boring. Well, you might be bored, but it's more than names. It's the names, but the names are linked in such a way that they take you back to certain places. They take you back to certain families. They take you back to certain kinds of work. They take you back to who owns certain kinds of things. And you see, all of that would be very useful to these people coming out of captivity in order to go back in and reestablish themselves, and in many cases, reestablish the cities and countries of that land that they're going into. You see the mercy of God here. By the grace of God, he's enabling the people that he put into captivity. He's enabling their children to come back into this land and to restart it. Comments, questions?
I just want to make a comment when you're talking. This made me reflect back to a nephew who was born African-American, but my grandmother on my mother's side was Indian, full-blooded Indian of the Sioux tribe. So he decided from ancestry to go back and become an Indian. He had his name changed to an Indian name, had his birth certificate changed. And so at the reunions, we had Indian activities and then the African-American activities. And when my nephew died, I was not able to make the funeral. He was dressed in the Indian attire and he was buried not where his sisters or brothers were buried, but on lands where the Indians had in Ohio.
Praise the Lord.
So this made me reflect back on that.
Well, when you have mixed heritage and you can establish that to your satisfaction, according to the records, then you can make those kinds of choices. And that's what a number of us, we African Americans, we're going to find that we aren't purely African. There is something else in our bloodline. And that's what our children are going to find. They're going to find that. And for I guess I'm my age, I go back 3 generations and I'm in slavery. My grandfather, was a born slave. Or you don't have to go back but 100 years, a little more than 100 years. And we were in slavery. And I'm 85. I go back 100 years, 100 and what is this? This is 2022. I go back
You
to
were in
80,
slavery in 1922.
you go back 200 years and you're in slavery. And you talk about India? Yeah.
Our time is up.
Our time is up. All
Yes.
right. Where are we? Verse 20? Did we stop at 20, Charles?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start next week let's start next week at 20. That's where period is. Chapter 9, verse 20 is what we'll start next week. Okay. Charles, since you read so well, would you close us with a word of prayer?
Certainly, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, once more we come before you, Lord, giving you all praise, honor, and glory that only you deserve. Thanking you, Father, for all you do for us every single day. Thanking you for bringing